All right. So, how's everybody doing tonight? I'm super excited. I am joined tonight, as you guys know, by the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Nick Bramble. And I'm super excited about this. I know that, like, if you're someone that's been following me for a while, I know you've heard me rant and rave about the 30-minute workday system for a while now. And it's the system that I use personally to um, generate leads and sales online. And to me, this system is just a total godsend. And Nick is the man behind the vision, the man behind the system, who has generously um, given his time and his expertise to build out a system that I think last time I heard there was over 4,000 people. I'm sure it's even well above that. Um, at this point, I'll let him fill us in, but there's thousands of people using the system now. And so many people are getting such great results with it, even including people that have never made a sale online before, are all of a sudden getting sales. And every time I see in our chat and I see all the success people are having, like I get goosebumps because it's just so exciting to have something that's so user friendly. But even more than that, I think the most important thing about this whole process that the 30-minute workday system provides for everybody is that it teaches timeless principles for wealth building and building a business online, which is so different than a lot of the other stuff that we see being taught on the internet, where we're constantly being taught like tactics and strategies, which are all great for social media and other ways to market online, but none of those tactics and strategies are timeless. They're all constantly changing because the algorithms are always changing and the platforms are always changing. But what Nick teaches inside of the 30-minute workday is our principles that we are never going to change. And like the foundational principles that really are needed to build a business online. And a lot of what he teaches inside of there, we get this incredible ebook that's like 183 pages long that has so much knowledge and information in there that I wish I had when I first started doing this online, because I would be so much further along. A lot of the stuff that Nick teaches is stuff that I have figured out over time, but he's now handing it to people on a silver platter so that they don't even have to go through all of the trials and tribulations that we've gone through. So, Nick, I'm so glad that you are here tonight. And without further ado, I'm going to bring Nick on. Rather than me trying to tell you his background, I'm going to let him do that. So how are you doing tonight, Nick?
I'm doing great, Amy. Thanks for having me. Um, yeah, it's good to be here. I think, Amy, my story is like a lot of people's. It goes way back. I put a little part in the book. I didn't talk much about it, but it's weird because I can remember being like a little kid and looking out the window in the car and seeing people like so like miserable all the time, and something I don't even know why, but something was like those people are miserable because they hate where they're going, and it always seemed like they were coming to and from work. So it from a very early age, I can't really say what age that was, but somewhere between like kindergarten age and like second grade age, I can remember like seeing people going to places that they just didn't seem like they wanted to go. And for whatever reason, in my mind, it was like they were going to their jobs and they didn't want to be there. And I don't even know why, like I made that connection or had that thought. But I've always had this sort of disconnect with like the traditional 9 to 5 world, and it took me a while to figure that out though, because I did the traditional, go to school, get really good grades. I always did well. I always worked hard. I went to college, actually went to grad school for a little bit. Um, but there was just something that just didn't, it just never sat right for me. And, I even worked a couple jobs after college that I didn't really enjoy. And it wasn't until I actually was let go from my job. My daughter was very young, just a few months old. My son was already on the way, and I've got no job, and my wife and I, my wife had a pretty decent job at the time, and so we decided, instead of paying daycare for two little ones, which was pretty expensive. It's like mortgage payment, to have daycare for two little ones. I was just going to stay home, and I was going to figure this out. I'd had some little success, but at that point we were probably at least still like $30,000 in credit card debt, mostly because of a bunch of stuff that I had done. Because I'd been trying to figure this stuff out for a while. I don't know if you remember, like Don Lapre, the magazine guy. I did sort of mail order stuff. I did Carlton Sheets, the real estate. My wife and I actually owned a rental for like 24 hours and got a little bit spooked about it and backed out. But long story short, I had been trying to do this for a very long time unsuccessfully, and at the time I got let go from my job, we had a ton of debt, and but it was when I really started to figure it out. And all I really did at that time was, and I kind of stumbled into success, I think because I wasn't doing it right, and I wasn't doing, it wasn't anything principle based. It was just, and trying to do anything that worked. I just knew I didn't want to have a, 9 to 5 for the rest of my life. And so I took this opportunity, to really, I learned one traffic source. I plugged into one opportunity, which was sort of like, it was sort of biz-oppy. It had a product that I wasn't, super proud of, but it had this excitement about it. And so I jumped in and I just started, driving one form of traffic and letting systems kind of do all the work that I wasn't really good at. And that first year, I actually, after failing for several years and being in a ton of debt, that first year of just focusing on, all I focused on was driving traffic and trying to write emails that I was actually writing, and I wasn't a copywriter. I have no background in writing. I wanted to be the guy sort of writing my emails, and sort of by accident I learned that all I really had to do was drive traffic and give people sort of different types of emails on a daily basis. And that first year I actually did a little over $100,000 online. I did $101,000 that first year after getting let go from my job. And so that was sort of the beginning of me figuring it all out, but I still didn't really understand the process. I just knew I was driving traffic. I was, writing emails, and, I was setting people to systems and letting systems do, most of the stuff that, I couldn't do, develop products and, websites and all this other techie sort of stuff that I couldn't do. And so that was, my first taste of success. And from there, I went about 5 years where I was doing pretty consistently. I stayed in that $100,000 range. I was between, $10 and maybe $15,000 a month. And then what happened is I wanted to take it to a next level. And one of the things that I write in the book is that, hold on, I'm going to lose power and everyone's going to lose me in a second. Hold on, give me 1 second. Sorry.
Yep. No worries. I'll come over and check the comments real quick. Hi, Jim. Hi, Eric. Hi, Dave. Hi, Danette. Too much power in one place. That's why it's called the Power Hour.
So, yeah, I'm back. I got the power supply connected. I don't know if there were any. I disconnected from my earphones for a second there too. But just to shorten the story, the reason that I'm doing what I'm doing now, and I could talk all night just about like the background of where I'm at now. But what I did is I took my little bit of success and I really wanted to take it to the next level. And so I paid one of my very earliest mentors $15,000 for a single day just to look into his business, to know exactly what he was doing. He was doing, at times like $1 million a week, was super successful. Everything he touched was just amazing. So um, I flew out to Maui, which was amazing. I paid this guy $15,000 for a single day, and he basically opened up his entire business to me. Showed me everything he could possibly show me. Showed me what he was making, how he was doing it, and exactly what he was doing. And he showed me a formula which I later called the Everwealth formula, and I'll explain that in a minute. But what I did is I took this formula and what he showed me, and I went home and I implemented it right away. And what happened was I actually spent about 4 months locked in my office. I wasn't seeing my family. I wasn't really having much fun. I was working super hard, and I really just sort of came out to eat and sleep. But what happened was when I launched, what I did is I was developing products and websites and all this sort of stuff that I'd never really done. But that's what he showed me to do, and it was based on this formula that I'll show everybody in a few minutes here. But what I did is I launched my own products based on the formula that he had given me, and I had a huge month. I did like over $93,000 in the first 30 days of doing that. And so what he showed me, obviously it worked, but what happened over the next 60 days is all of my products and merchant accounts and everything, my back office and everything got hacked. And, I lost everything. And I had people were really, really mad at me. I was paying commissions to people through my products. I couldn't pay them. My own income was stolen. My whole back office was totally destroyed. The money that I did make, my merchant account was holding because I had such a huge increase in income. Like I said, I was averaging between $10,000 and $15,000 a month at that point, and I did like 93,000, and they're like, "Whoa,
Red flag to the merchant.
what's going on with this guy? This can't be legal. What he's doing." And so all the money that I did make, they were holding, and everything else is going to chargebacks and all that sort of stuff. So it was a really difficult experience, but I learned two things from it. I learned that number one, I had a formula that worked, but number two, I hated the way that I was doing it, because the reason, for me early on and today and every day, the reason I do this is because I really want to be able to be there, with my family. And I literally was 4 months in my office working and away from them, and not being able to, really live the life that I wanted to live. And to be able to do that, to maintain that, even if I hadn't gotten hacked, I was going to have to keep launching new products and new things every few months. And it was just going to become a cycle of sort of, really great cash flow, but the lifestyle just wasn't what I wanted to live. And so what I did was I sort of took how I enjoyed making money earlier on, focusing on traffic and emails and driving to systems. And I plugged that into what I later called this Everwealth formula. And I called it the Everwealth because I've never seen this formula fail for anybody who's used it before and since. And because it's based on what you touched on earlier, principles, right? It's all very principle based, and I can show everybody in a minute here. But I took what my mentor showed me, and instead of creating all of my own products and dealing with merchant accounts and dealing with all sorts of the techie crazy stuff that can really sort of come back and hit you in the face like it did to me, I took how I wanted to create wealth, plugged it into this formula, and now I what I do is I build my audience, I build value to share with that audience, and I share value with that audience, on a daily basis. And then I drive people to, things that I deem of super, super high value that I can plug people into. And I let other people do all of the techie and the hard stuff and all of the stuff that I don't really want to do anymore, and the stuff that takes up all of your time. And so I just sort of morphed that formula into what's now called, the 30-minute workday, because you can literally, once you get going, you can wake up, you can send an email as long as you've already been driving traffic, and you can basically be done, with your day, and you can start creating, cash flow. And I could talk a little bit about how that works as we go on here. I didn't know really where you wanted this call to go, and sort of a long intro, a long bio, but that I felt like it needed to be told to let everybody know like how this was really born.
Yeah, I love hearing it, and I know I knew some of it from reading the book. Um, so how did you decide that you wanted, like, rather than just doing, I know that the Everwealth formula is a simple three-step process. I mean, you actually claim, like, you make a bold statement that, you can make $100,000 in 100 days to a year if you follow this three-step process and invest 30 minutes a day, which is incredible. So how did you go from doing that yourself to wanting to build out a system to allow other people to basically do what you're doing? Like, what was your um, motivation for
Yeah.
building out the system?
Yeah, I think what happens is when you start to sort of grow in your own success, at least for me, it was like I wanted to be able to contribute more, right? And how can you go beyond what you're doing for yourself and for your family? How can you help more people? And what I really kept coming back to is I wanted to be able to teach people what I was doing, because I really have this, and I don't know what it is. Like I said, it started early on. I've got this aversion to not necessarily jobs, but people being like miserable for a long time, going to places, spending time with people they don't want to spend time with, doing things that they don't want to do. And I think what happens early on in a lot of people's lives is they get stuck in sort of this place where they sort of have to have this job, and they forget about what they really wanted to do, because I truly believe that everybody's born with some sort of gift and some sort of dream and desire, inner desire to do something. um, and I think what happens is, when we get stuck in that sort of, 9 to 5 or job life, we forget about it because we're just stuck. We've got, bills to pay and things to do now, and we can't really do, what we want to do. But my own personal feeling is the more people we can sort of set free to do what they want to do, I really think we can create just a better place, to be, a better place to live, a happier culture. Because when people are living in their gifts and living in their dreams, uh, they really there's just a whole different type of what I call mental freedom. I like to say that there's financial freedom, time freedom, lifestyle freedom, and like location freedom, and be able to go and be where you want. But I also think there's this mental freedom that most people never really get to experience, because they're always sort of tied up in trying to get one of those other three freedoms that they never get, and they're at this job. So a couple of things made me just kept calling to me, right? I tried to get out actually of this industry, and I was on my way out, and some people I became close to in this industry kind of talked me back into it, and talked me back into releasing this 30-minute workday membership. But I was actually on my way out, because I had actually discovered a way to create wealth without having to do any of this stuff. And that stuff in the 30-minute workday, I'm not going to really get into that part of it, because it's not fully relevant to what we're talking about here. But I just wanted to be able to set people free to do the things that they wanted to do, because then I think people are choosing to do things that are going to, help people grow, help people live, happier, healthier lives, and just, help people be, when you're living in your purpose, you're really doing greater things, really for the world. And I really think that the more people we can, free to do that, there's going to be a lot of greatness that comes out of that. So now that's sort of, what drives me, helping people be free to really do the things that are calling to them.
Yeah. And that really comes through every single day. For anybody that's not inside of the 30-minute workday system that's watching this, we have a live chat inside of Telegram that's active all day long. And there's leaders in there all day long helping the new people and welcoming people in. And Nick's in there every single day. I mean, like, it's so huge, like you don't need to be, like, you know what I mean? But you just are, because it's just so obvious to me that what drives you is freeing people and really helping people to see that that's true. One of my favorite lines in your book that really stuck out for me was when you said that too good to be true is like the biggest line of crap that's holding you back from achieving your dreams and
Right,
pursuing the gifts that God has put inside of you.
right,
Because I think a lot of people are living inside of it's too good to be true. Like, even if they see me succeeding or you succeeding or their best friend succeeding or Joe Schmo succeeding, um, like you were saying, like, they're going to their job that they don't like, watching other people living their dreams and thinking to themselves, that's too good to be true for me. And I love that inside of the Everwealth formula and everything that you teach and who you show up as every day inside of our community is really, in your very, I don't, like, very gentle way, just really reminding people that they have everything that they need.
right.
We all do. And so, I mean, that's one of the things that lights me up the most about the 30-minute workday and the whole community that we're involved in with the Home Business Academy and everything else. And we'll go more into that later, but is that, um, the 30-minute workday works alongside or within the Home Business Academy, which is founded by Paul Hutchings and Mike Hobbs, who are also very, very servant-based leaders. And it's just incredible to be around people that are just so committed to being the change they want to see in the world. And that's really what this whole system represents, in a way that I've really never seen before. I've been a part of other systems, and I've actually paid a lot of money to be a part of other systems, like, hundreds of dollars a month to have access to what we have access to here for free. And those systems don't teach the mindset stuff that you give us. So thank you for that.
Oh yeah, thanks. And a couple of things come out of that. One is Mike and Paul actually unknowingly brought me back into releasing this membership site. There were really three people who played a big role in that. I don't, maybe he's on the call, maybe he's not. JD Angel, who was, it's always sort of, I call him sort of my silent nagger, who always, just kept pushing me to, to keep doing this, because I really was on my way out. And my frustration is it sort of goes to what you spoke to, just, you mentioned just a tiny bit, is that most of these systems are just that. They're just these systems that they don't really teach you anything. It's just sort of like, a biz app, or I don't even really know what to call them. There's no real principle behind them. There's no real teaching behind them. It's just, hey, come in, try to make as much money as you can, and we're probably going to be gone in 90 days. And so I got really, really frustrated with that, and I couldn't find a place to call home. I knew I didn't want to, for the reasons I already talked about, I didn't want to have to build my own thing. I just didn't want to have to, go and do that and have to deal with that, because part of that I think takes away from my own gifts. having to deal with that kind of stuff on a daily basis, because that's not really, my skill set, and it's not the gifts that I work in and the gifts that I've been given. And so the closer I stay to the things that I've been gifted, I think I can help more people. But I couldn't find a place to really, build the 30-minute workday around. And I don't even know why Mike and Paul came back on the radar. I think it was I somehow got reconnected with something Paul was doing, or Paul had said, or an email he had sent. I'd been paying no attention to Mike and Paul. I'd known them previously, but it just sort of they came out of nowhere. And I saw what they were doing with the HBA community, and it couldn't have been a more perfect fit, because what I was doing is I was trying to teach people the principles behind why everything worked. Yes, I give people the 30-minute workday, for those who don't know about it, in short, it's a 3-phase system. The first one is an entirely done for you sales funnel that allows you to focus on really the only three things that you really ever need to focus on is, in my opinion, is building an audience, building your own value, to be able to serve that audience, and then sending that audience value on a daily basis, or close to as you can daily basis. I think those are the only three things that you ever need to focus on to build a highly successful business. And you can do that using other people's, products and services and those types of things. But I just couldn't find something that I could build around. And so, it was tough to be able to figure out that phase one part. And phase two is actually all of the principles behind that. It's the book that I wrote, the 30-minute workday book that I wrote. It covers all of the principles, all of the things that you need to know as to why this works, so that you can, it's nice in phase one for people to be able to plug into sort of this done for you 7-figure sales funnel is what we call it. But what if, the 30-minute workday isn't something that you want to build for the rest of your life? Because I really do want people to, as much as possible, work within and towards and for their own gifts and their own purposes, because I really think that's what releases our own greatness, is being as close to those gifts as we possibly can. And so that's what phase two is about, is giving people the skills to go out and still maintain the 30-minute workday principles, but based around anything that you want to do. And we've got people in the community already building businesses around, Christy Hall is building, her thing around baking, and she's, used a lot of the principles from the 30-minute workday, membership in the book. We've got people building stuff around, finance and crypto and health and fitness and all sorts of stuff, using the principles, that they're learning inside of the community. And so I really wanted people to be able to, like I said, be as close to their own gifts, but still be able to use this 30-minute workday principle and this Everwealth formula to be able to do that. And then the phase three, which we're really just sort of getting into, is it's actually what almost, part of it is actually what almost led me to just totally leave the industry altogether, is being able to sort of plug into what the ultra wealthy do with their money, in terms of being able to keep it, be able to grow it, and be able to multiply it. And those things really are taught in very, 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 just in tiny areas of the planet. Almost nobody knows that stuff. Like 1% of the planet knows those types of things. So, I wanted people, I call it, give people the ability to see results right now with phase one, give them the ability to create wealth for the rest of their lives, and something that's very principle based, that will work in 40 years the same as it works today. And then, in phase three is be able to, keep, grow, and multiply, that all the, whatever wealth that you do acquire. But, going back to Mike and Paul, their principles, their mindset, their leadership, servant-based leadership, was an absolute perfect fit. And it was like a gift
Gift
from
from
God,
God.
really, because it literally came out of nowhere. I was on my way out, and it just came out. Like I said, I don't know, I can't even remember how I got, connected with HBA. It was just,
Mhm.
for whatever reason, was sitting on
Divine.
my desk. I truly believe that, honestly,
Mhm.
100%.
Yeah. Well, just in case anybody's here right now that doesn't know what we're talking about with the Home Business Academy, I just want to clarify just briefly so that you understand. There is a link on this page below this video where you can learn more about the HBA Funnel Builder, which is one of the products inside of the Home Business Academy. And basically, the Home Business Academy has 3 products which are very much in alignment to everything that Nick was just talking about. We have the Funnel Builder, which is the platform that it's the page builder, and it's what the pages that we use in the 30-minute workday are already built for us. So when you join the Funnel Builder, like if you click the link below and you go and watch the overview and you decide to join, one of the things that you get is access to the 30-minute workday. Like you'll be able to join the 30-minute workday system for free, and the pages, Nick has already built the pages that you can use to market the 30-minute workday system. They're built inside of that Funnel Builder. So it's kind of, I like to look at it as kind of, I mean, I talk about both things and, independently, but I always let people know when they're getting involved with the Funnel Builder or the Home Business Academy in any way that the 30-minute workday is just basically a bonus that we get access to for being part of the Home Business Academy. And the Home Business Academy also has a premium membership where we really go deeper into marketing skills, and there's a weekly mastermind. And then the third product is the Financial Literacy Academy, which is just like what Nick was just talking about, which is where there's like a lot of amazing stuff is taught in there about how to, save money on your taxes and how to invest and how to fix and flip different types of properties and how to reinvest the money that you earn here or with whatever business. Like Nick said, a lot of that stuff is not stuff that a lot of people ever end up taking the time to learn or having access the information. A lot of times we just don't have access to it. So now we have access to it. And it's like the Home Business Academy and the 30-minute workday are a perfect partnership and just work really, really well together. Can you tell us, because I know I'm probably way off on my number that I said before, how many people are inside of the 30-minute workday system now? You're muted, I think.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. We recently crossed 18,000.
18 and I said
18,
4.
yeah, right. And we're getting pretty close to, we may have hit, I've got to check the numbers still tonight. We may be a little bit closer to 20,000 than I thought.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're growing really, really quickly. But the neat thing is, and one of the neatest things actually happened today, because one of the things I really wanted to do is take those people. You mentioned the whole too good to be true, which it's always bothered me, because if everybody thought that, nothing great would ever happen. If
Yeah.
everybody thought, well, it's just too good to be true, it's not going to happen. Nothing great would ever happen. But a lot of people get stuck in that sort of mindset. And sometimes it's their failures that sort of lead them there. Things weren't working for them, or they weren't doing it the right way, and they just never figured it out. And one of those members is actually he actually started inside of the HBA community, Home Business Academy, and then he came over to the 30-minute workday when we launched the membership, and he made his very first sale ever online.
Louis.
Using Louis Jolly made
Love
his
Louis.
very first sale online. Came into the 30-minute
He's here
workday.
tonight. Hi, Louis.
Yeah, hey Louis, and I really appreciate Louis. And he's just a fantastic guy. But it's the story. It's kind of the story that I want to build on and to be able to tell to lots and lots of people, that it isn't really as difficult as I sort of pick on the industry a little bit, and I call them, the gurus. There are certain people out there who just want to launch like biz ops, and and products and things that they know aren't going to be there in 90 days. And it's just sort of, quick, grab the money and then we'll figure it out, after that. And there's a lot of that. And it's why I almost left. So I wanted to build something where, somebody like Louis could come in and start seeing results right now, even if they'd never seen results and they failed, or it could be their first day online, who knows. But I wanted them to see those results in a way that if they continued to build on them, that they would actually have the skill. Because it's more important to me, the reason that I kept the 30-minute workday membership free is because it's more important to me that you get the skill to be able to do this long term. And like I said, if you can get the skill to do this on something that's based around, your own gifts, then that's when your real greatness is eventually going to come out. But what Louis did is he came in, never made a sale online, had struggled. And in March, I think it was March, when he made his very first sale, and it was really, really exciting. And he was super fired up about it, which was cool. But now Louis he's sort of reaching that 90 day, what I call 90-day breakthrough. If you are consistent doing just those three things in any business, it doesn't matter, online, offline, whatever. If you consistently every single day build your audience, build your own value so that you can be of more value. Because one thing that people don't ever really understand, and why a lot of people fail, is they think it's the business or the product or the current market conditions or all this other stuff. It's never anything more than you only get paid for the amount of value that you're putting out into the marketplace. And if you can build an audience and build your own value every single day, and then share that value with an audience every single day, the first breakthrough that I have seen, over the last 15 years or so, is that the first breakthrough generally happens at about 90 days. And then those breakthroughs continue to happen at like these 90-day intervals. And it's funny because Louis is right about at that 90 days. And this last week, he was top 10 in sales in the home business again.
I know.
So he went from making his first sale online less than 90 days ago, I think it was. And, right around 90 days later is top 10 in sales in a company that's been around for, a few years now. So just that's the story, that I really want to be able to tell, on a really regular basis. I said that to Louis in the chat today. Your story, the results you are getting, that's what I want to build on. That's the type of thing that I want to do, because now Louis got the skills, based on principles, that he could go out and do the same thing now in 20 years that he's doing now, and just continue to build on what he's doing. He's not tied to biz op or anything like that. I want people to stay in the 30-minute workday community for as long as they feel it's valuable to them. But my overall goal is get that skill, because if you have that skill, nobody can ever take it away from you. And it doesn't matter what's happening in the economy. We've had craziness, going on all over the world, this year that, we've really never seen. So none of that stuff matters. You've got a guy who'd never had success online. The world is kind of going wacky and shutting down, and people are going through some hard times, and it's seemingly a time of little opportunity. But those people who have skills, those are the ones who can take those skills, like a guy like Louis now, and now he can create wealth for himself, even in a time like this where people are having a hard time, even getting the paycheck that they used to get.
Yeah. I heard somebody, maybe it was Bill, somebody on the Monday Night Mastermind, I'm pretty sure it was Bill, said he's now making more with this than his retirement pays.
That's fantastic. I didn't know that. That's awesome. I'll have to reach out. That's really
yeah.
great.
It's like I just got goosebumps again.
It's
so awesome, because it's like what you've created, and maybe you can just touch on a little bit about like kind of how the system works. But what you've created, I've said it before, it just converts better than, a lot of other stuff that I've tried, and I've been marketing online for 15 years.
Mhm.
It's just easier to it just makes sense to people when they see it.
Right, right.
And so
Um,
it's so that's why there's almost 20,000 people in it. And like 2 weeks ago there was 4,000. And
we're growing really, really quickly.
yeah.
And we've gone through some stuff. I told I mentioned JD earlier, and we actually go back and forth quite a bit. And I told him when we were at about 10,000 members, and I said, well, we just had our first 10,000 member test because we were sort of trying to put this out in a way that was going to be, that people could come through and understand it, that hadn't really done this before or hadn't had success. And, our first 10,000, members was a pretty good test of the success that was to come. So I'm so excited because the results just keep coming. Now we're about, we're already at about 20,000. So I know based on what we're seeing now, if we can just continue to get people to believe in what we're doing here and believe in the skill, and they can actually learn this skill because it's not difficult. And if you'll let me, I'll if I could share my screen, I'll just show people
Yep.
sort of what the back office looks like.
Yeah, you should be able to go ahead and share.
Right. And let me know if everyone's seeing my
Yep.
screen. It
I
should
can
say the
see the Everwealth formula revealed.
perfect. And we actually this page, we actually introduced a brand new series of videos today because I really wanted people earlier on. In phase 2 is where you learn what the Everwealth formula is, or that's where we were learning it. But what I found is I wanted people to really, really understand this right away, even while we were building it for them, because the more quickly you understand this formula, this is the formula that was shared with me. When I flew to Maui and spent $15,000 to spend a single day. This is what was shown to me, and I was doing parts of. If you see this picture right here, I'll actually just blow this up. Are you still seeing that?
Yep.
This was actually what was shown to me when I went through it, and I had known parts of this, right? And I can just real quickly, I'll go through this. We don't have time to cover it all, but when he first showed it to me, I was like, well, that's great, but it just seemed like I was at a point where, and I think everybody gets there, where there's got to be something more. There's got to be this secret that the people who are doing $1 million a week aren't really showing you. And that's sort of what I thought when he first showed it to me. But then he opened up his laptop and he showed me his numbers. He showed me exactly what he was doing and where everything plugged into place. And that's why I went home, sort of on fire, and created, all of my stuff, and had the results that I had because of what he showed me. But it's all, this formula is basically, it's very principle based, and so this is not only a formula that is true in online marketing. This is a formula that goes back really to the beginning of sales. This is how sales works when you're doing it right, and when it's based on principles and really serving people. There's a few things that you've got to know to make this work. Number one is that you are serving people. And so, like this little guy here, and again, I won't go into the whole thing. This little guy, it represents traffic. But what people misunderstand a lot of times is that, traffic isn't like a click. It isn't, it isn't a visitor. It isn't a follower. It isn't any of those things. Traffic is a person who has, needs and desires and wants and goals and things that you can help them with. They're looking for solutions. And so if you can quickly become a person who can provide solutions in whatever, industry or niche or whatever you want to call it that you desire, if you can become a person that is a solutions provider at a high level, then you can really, really have success. If as long as you continue to build an audience of people who have those needs, desires, wants, goals, problems that you can solve, And as long as you continually keep solving those problems for them, then you really can do almost anything that you want. And what we do with this formula is we make it easy to solve those problems in a way that produces good result on, I like to say in the book, I like to say it's a win-win scenario when you can serve somebody and give them, what they want and give them the solution. And then you're also getting that, financial reward for that. Now it's a win-win situation and you can feel really, really good about it, because there were a lot of years, and even when I was successful, I wasn't feeling completely good about it, because I just felt like I was like building these biz ops that only served people for a short period of time, and they weren't really teaching them anything. And so what happened is when these businesses went out of business, like they always do, people didn't have the skills to do anything else. So then they just hop and hop and hop from all these different businesses, and that's really one of the main reasons why people don't see the success that they want, and ultimately they're failing, is because they didn't get the skill. So what I wanted to do, and I'll go back, if I can get off of the screen here, what I wanted to do, here's our back office. And so dashboard's just like a nice welcome. Phase one is this what we call 7-figure sales funnel that's based on the Everworld formula. And like I said, I can't go into, I could take the whole hour or 2 hours just talking about this. This video is actually an hour long, because I want people to understand how this formula works, even as we're doing it for you. So phase one, we take this formula here and we do all of it basically for you. What we do is we've aligned with some traffic providers that they go out and they're very good at what they do. They find us the traffic, and then we can just go, and whenever we want that traffic, we can go and get it. Then one of the reasons why HBA was a perfect fit is they had come out with their funnel builder, and now we can use that to create some of these pages here. So you can use the existing technology to automate your business. And if you've got, for example, if you've got a funnel builder or a page builder and you've got an autoresponder, you don't need any other tools to be successful online. You can build a high-level 6-figure and even 7-figure income on 2 simple tools. And that's really what I preach in the 30-minute workday. And the cool thing about what I've done for lots of years is I've always wanted to be able to get paid for the tools that I'm paying for. And so, where for a lot of people, they've got these expenses, right? The things that are my tools that I have to pay for, they also pay me an income. But the cool thing is that you need, as a person who's building an online business, you need a page builder and you need an autoresponder. You can't get by without those two. If you don't have those 2 things, you will never have a business, right? And so the neat thing is that those are built into what we call our income tools, right? Because they produce income in a couple of ways. Number one, you can use them to build whatever you want to online, and I hope that people eventually do that. But number two, they're also income streams in and of themselves, because anybody coming online needs these 2 tools. So you're providing something that can be a long-term solution for somebody because you need these tools long-term. But the other thing is that I've been getting paid, for example, on, autoresponders for over 10 years. I've had customers for over 10 years because they need those tools to build a successful business. Excuse me while I'll grab a quick drink here. But basically in phase one, we automate this entire process. And as you said earlier, the HBA products fit perfectly into what we were doing. Not just as in the formula, but just as a culture and as people and as heart-centered leaders and all that sort of stuff. It fit perfectly. So that's basically phase one, is we do that formula for you. phase two, we actually, I go through and I show you, I wrote my book, The 30-Minute Workday. It goes through and shows you this formula. It goes through and shows you the only 3 steps that I really ever take on a daily basis, and we've talked a little bit about them. And it outlines this whole process so that you could take this formula, build a business around any product service that you want to, and only focus on those 3 things. You don't have to ever build products. You don't have to ever create anything. You don't have to build fancy websites and all that sort of stuff that holds people back. You can build a really, really great long-term income using, automation, the tools like, the HBA funnel builder and, an autoresponder, and also using the work that other great, leaders and product producers put out. For example, if I wanted to, build around, I do some things in the, finance and crypto and Forex markets. I could go and I could plug a Forex product anywhere into this funnel that I wanted to, and not have to deal with all of the hard techie stuff, and just focus on my 3 things. And as long as I have everything in this order, following those 3 steps every day, then I can create a great income. And you can do that, for as many types of industries or products or services that you want to. So that's what in phase two, we actually give you the skill to do it. So phase one's about getting those results right now. So for example, a guy like Louis can come in and get great results right now. Phase two is actually getting the skill, because more than anything else, I want people to have this skill. I don't, if you took the book and downloaded it and just read it and that's all you did and you got the skill, I would be absolutely thrilled. And so that's what phase two is about. And then phase three is a little bit more advanced, and we're building that out a little bit more right now, but it's about being able to, keep and grow and multiply everything that you create in phase one and phase two. And it's about generational wealth. And so when we get to a point where you can serve generations of people, then you're really using your gifts at a whole other level. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I love how this system is, just like you said, it not only the system generates an income in and of itself because of the tools that are plugged into the system that we get paid residual income on, like the funnel builder and the autoresponder, but and the traffic. But at the same time, it can be used to help people build any business that they want in any niche that they want. So this is what I love about it. It's not like if somebody's already doing something else, this won't work for them. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like it really, and like you said, if they are building a business in whatever industry, health and wellness or finance or all the in other industries that you were talking about, this will help them be more successful in what they're already doing. And it'll generate income for them at the same time, other streams of income from within the system. So it's so cool.
Right. I like to call like HBA funnel builder, and we use an autoresponder inside of our system. I like to call those magic income streams, because I mean they just again, they serve the customer and the the seller at a very high level, but they pay for a very, very long time, and it's residual income. And so, as you are getting customers, not only are they long-term customers, but the income builds. And so if you had 20 customers one month and then you've got, 20 more the next, you've doubled your monthly residual income, every single month. Now that money's coming in. And so instead of having to make these, one-time sales here and there, you're actually building on your income all the time. And it's a long-term income. Like I said, using, income streams like that, you can serve people at a high level and, create a long-term income that I've been getting, commissions for 10 years from the same customer.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
Right. Right.
It is. And it's, you know, like you just were talking about Louis before, I also just love that people that have never made a sale online before, and a lot of them aren't necessarily new. They've been trying for a long time
Mhm.
to generate income online with no success, and then come over here and learn this stuff. This is what's missing. This is what's missing from all the other things that are being taught online, is the foundational principles that a lot of people just don't understand. You know, they join a company and they're taught to go spam links around town, and
Right,
that's
right,
all, you know, and that's what they're taught to do, and they don't understand any of the mindset stuff and the foundational principles of internet marketing.
right. And that is why, really why, originally why I wrote the book, is because really I just wanted people to have the skill. Um, like I said, because then when you have the skill, and like when what you've been saying, instead of, just sort of learning how to be like an annoying marketer who just spams people new things every, 3 or 4 days, or, a month or two, when things, go out of business. Now you have an actual skill that you can serve people, and you can plug into what you want to do, because you're never really going to provide the highest level of value that you can, in my opinion, unless you are serving, within whatever your gifts and your desires are. Again, I truly believe that we were all born with very specific desires and gifts, and purposes and reasons why we want to help people. And I also believe they sort of change, over time. Um, but I think that they're in there from the start. And when you can plug into and work more closely with those gifts, you can really, really unleash a greatness in yourself and in others that you couldn't do it otherwise. And so I know a lot of people come into like the biz op space because they want to live out whatever dreams that they're living. But now, people can come into, for example, the 30-minute workday. They can plug into something like a phase one that's serving people at a high level. But then if they want to get into phase two and really learn the skill, then what they can do is they can take that into what they really love. And now they're not just, you go from making money to actually being able to make a difference, and make a difference in the places in the world that you want to. And I think that's really, really important, and that's really what tends to call to me quite a bit.
Hmm. I don't know if you saw, but a comment just came in from Jim. He said Christy, his wife, Christy Hall, is using the principles that she's learned here, as you mentioned before, to build a business in the baking industry. And she made $600 today.
Wow.
And that's through a membership site that she built in the HBA funnel builder in the baking niche, home baking business niche, to do exactly what you're talking about, which is she's making a huge difference for these other people in that niche. And I
So
interviewed
amazing.
them a couple weeks ago, and she was sharing like one of her burning desires that she and goals in her life is that she wants to travel around the world and teach what she, her take her gifts into other people's kitchens and
Mhm.
teach in kitchens and like other cool parts of the world. And she's able to do that by what she's learning here and using the tools that she gets inside of the Home Business Academy. So it's like it's a perfect example of what you were just talking about, right? Because she's, they're making a nice residual income from the products that are built into the system. And now she's also applying that to her baking.
That's super cool. Congratulations, Christy.
Yay,
That's really,
Christy.
really awesome. First of all, but again, that's the heart of why I really wanted to do this, and I couldn't really. It took me a really long time to figure out a way to structure it, and like I said, it truly was just a godsend that somehow Paul came across my face. I really don't know how it happened, but um, what I really wanted to do is what's happening with a person like Louie and those first results, and what's happening with a person like Christy, who's taking what she really loves and being able to serve that community, because I've seen her stuff and I've seen her sites, and when somebody really loves what they're doing, they're just going to serve at an entirely different level, and her
Yep.
results are really speaking to that, and I'm thrilled. And the cool thing for them is that Jim is actually one of the top earners in Home Business Academy for what he does, and then Christy's just crushing it with her baking academy, and so they're kind of living the best of both worlds, and I'm thrilled for both of them. They're just super good people, and they've been again, some of these people who have come from HBA into the 30-minute workday community, we're just blessed to have the people like Jim and Christy who come over and are just really, really amazing people and help us build a community of people who want to serve people.
Yeah, Jim's in the Telegram chat right now, helping people get over here that are asking questions. He's
Awesome.
always in there. I know, Christy, you think he's in there too much, but he said Christy thinks he's in there too much, but he just wants to help people.
He does, and I'm so grateful for Jim. He's kind of my secret weapon on a daily basis, because there are, I can't be in a million places at once, but somehow Jim seems to be. So he's been awesome. But the neat thing is about building a community, and really what was important to me when I connected with HBA, with Home Business Academy. You had been a part of them for a while, and you had known about Paul and Mike and had been working with them. The community there is just so, I've never seen anything like it. It's just the most amazing community on the planet. And so I was very careful about, and I continue to be careful about how we do things here at the 30-minute workday, because I really want to be able to serve at the level that Mike and Paul do, and also have a community of people that are willing to and wanting to serve at the level of the HBA community. And the really cool thing is that HBA has those members who have come over to 30-minute workday have really helped build that foundation of the culture here. And now we've got people who are coming in who see like what Jim's doing, and then they start to help, and then somebody new comes in and then they start to help. And so already we've got a community of leaders that we're building up, that now we can continue to sort of join forces with HBA. And I know a lot of us have similar goals in that we want to reach lots and lots of people. And I think what we're doing here between 30-minute workday and Home Business Academy, I think what's truly special is what's coming in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I know we're past the top of the hour. Do you have anything? Well, let me just, before I ask you, think about what you want to, if there's anything else that you want to share about your vision moving forward, or anything else that you want to say. But before you answer that, I just want to mention once again that if anybody's watching this, whether you're here live or on the replay, there is a button below this video where if you click on that button, you can learn more about the Home Business Academy that we've been talking about. And you can get started for just $25 a month by clicking the button below. And then you will also, from there, be able to use the 30-minute workday system as well. And they work together. So I just wanted to point that out one more time. And if somebody else has sent you to this page, don't worry, they will get credit for the sale. It's all coded. It's one of the awesome features of the HBA funnel builder, is we're able to easily set it up that way. So, and you can go on for as long as you want, Nick, but I want to respect the hour here, and respect your time. But I just wanted to see if there's, first of all, I want to say thank you, because it's been really great to really hear from you, your voice. I know I've read your book a few times and learned a lot about a lot of the things that you said tonight, but it's just really good to hear it from you, and have you explain. I think a lot of people have gotten a lot of value from this tonight, but anyway, thank you for building this system, and thank you for being such an incredible leader and just a selfless servant leader inside of this community, and for sharing all of your knowledge and wisdom with all of us, and for just making such a huge difference on the planet. And thank you for being here tonight with me and with us, because I think that this is going to make a huge difference for a lot of people as we can continue to share this video with people till the end of time. So that being said, and knowing that that's going to happen, what else do you want to, is there anything else that you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, first off, just thank you a million times over for having me and giving me the opportunity to be here. I've actually, it's interesting because in this industry, you sort of, you see people and you watch people and I've been watching you serve the community for years and years, and so it's a pleasure to finally just be able to be connected and sort of join forces and do really really great things together. So appreciate you having me here, and just very grateful to finally be connected. But you know what, to me it's simple. I really just I want people to know that it's not difficult. What we do, is actually, it's very simple. It doesn't mean that it's going to be easy, because things that are new to you, or a little bit of technology is new to you, or you've never done any of this stuff before. It's not always easy, but it is very very simple, and you can absolutely do this. Again, I keep going back to Louis because he's just sort of he's the poster, the poster person for what we do here. You can struggle for a long long time and figure it out. And what we do here is, we help you figure it out right now, and then we give you the skills to equip you to do it later on. But more than anything else, it doesn't matter if you do it here at the 30-minute workday or with HBA or anywhere else. Focus and always learn the principles behind why and how things work. Because when you know the principles, you can do this for the rest of time. You'll have a skill that you can build wealth around for the end of time, that you can help people with until the end of time. And so I would love for as many people who see value in HBA and value in 30-minute workday to come into this community, because it's by far the best community, combined community that I've ever seen, online, offline, on the moon, wherever. I can't even explain it. It's just, it's something different. There is a heart here that I've never seen anywhere else. So what I will say is you're in a place where there are people that are going to help you here on a daily basis. But I will also say that you've got to step out and be willing to help yourself too, and to give yourself those skills, because if you never take the action steps, nobody can really help you. So I would say if you've got a desire that this won't go away, if you've got call it what you want, a feeling, a desire, a purpose, if you feel like you've got this gift that you want to share, if you feel like a lot of people coming to calls like this, they just they've got this thing that this feeling or this desire that there's something more, there's a bigger purpose to your life. And there is a bigger purpose. You were meant to do really really great things. And so what I personally want to give you the ability to do here at the 30-minute workday, even if you never plugged into our phase one and used our 7-figure sales formula and plugged into the envelope formula that we built for you, what I want to do more than anything else is give you the skill, the ability, the tools, the resources to be able to step into your own gifts and do this for the rest of time. If you want to be a Christy Hall and turn your passion, the thing that you're very gifted into your dream life, then do that. Just come here, get the skill, and do with that skill, whatever sets your heart on fire. And so, what makes this community different, maybe these calls a little bit different, is nobody is here trying to like force you into this biz op that's going to go away in 24 hours, or into something cheesy or weird, or anything like that. We're just a community who wants to help other people just reach that greatness that's within them. And the way that you do that is you actually listen to those desires that are in your heart, in your soul, whatever you want to call it, and you reach out, and you start trying to develop the skills to live that life. So I just want to say, if you're here and you know that you want to do something more, get plugged into the community, learn the skill, use the tools and the resources that HBA provide, because they are the best in the business, and plug into the heart of the community, and let us help give you the skill to be able to do whatever you want for the rest of your life.
Amen. Thank you so much again, Nick, for everything, for that. And yeah, what Nick said, be sure and click the button below. And after you join HBA, just ask the person that you joined with for the access to the 30-minute workday, and we'll get you hooked up. And it is a very active community, and it is, like Nick said, it's very, very, very different than anything else I've ever seen. And like you, Nick, I thought I was done too with this industry, because of all of the disappointing things that I've had happen over the years, and some of the dishonesty and things that I've seen. And I think that's why a lot of us are here. Paul and Mike created a home because of that, for a place for them to hang their hats, because they didn't want to have any of that other stuff happen anymore. And now it's kind of attracted a bunch of us who know that there's a bigger picture, and there's another way to make a difference in the world, and this is it. And it's incredible, and like you said, it's like nothing I've ever seen before. So if you're curious, check us out, get plugged in, and we hope to see you inside. And I guess next week we'll be up to 40,000 members, and at the rate it's exponentially growing right now, which is what happens, right? Momentum.
That's what happens. It's been fun, but even more fun is what we've been talking about. It's we're really starting to attract the right people who want to do great things, and that's really why I'm here, because I think it seems like it goes back to that too good to be true thing. We can't really make that much difference, but I honestly 100% believe in my heart that everybody, the more people we can have living inside of their gifts and sharing their gifts and their resources and their value with the world, I think there's a greatness that comes out of that we just haven't ever seen, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, me too. All right. Well, thanks again for your time tonight, Nick. I know you're busy and you have a lot going on with your family and everything else. So I just really, once again, perfect example of service, servant leadership, showing up here like you did tonight and like you do every day. So thanks again. And this replay will stay up on this page for a week until we go live again next Wednesday. So do feel free, if you're in the Home Business Academy, put your affiliate link at the end of the link on this page and share it with as many people as you can in the next week, because I don't know about you, but I want to introduce Nick to everybody I know, so that they can see the man behind the vision of the system that I'm constantly talking about and ranting and raving about. I think it's helpful for people to see the person that created it all. So So yeah, so this will stay up on the page. And if you're watching the replay and you have any questions or anything, feel free to leave them in the comments and we'll get them answered for you. So have a great night, everybody. Thanks for being here with us. And we'll see you next time.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.